town you see in the distance is Cairns. Cairns is a North Queensland town, and this is where we will begin our journey. So we're starting here in Cairns, and we'll be making our way down the coast to the small country town of Tully, also known as my grandparents' hometown. So North Queensland, why are we here? Well, North Queensland holds a very special place and has a very interesting chapter in regards to Australian history. North Queensland attracted a lot of European migrants, particularly in the late 1800s and 19th century, due to its guaranteed work on the flourishing cane fields and the cane industry, and it also had the possibility for one day for these migrants to own their own land. Cities like Melbourne and Sydney were very competitive for jobs, and the housing was expensive. Life down there was expensive. So what North Queensland provided to a lot of European settlers was a new start in a new country, and the possibility to go build their own family and call a place home. So what we'll find as we make our journey down the coast is a lot of European influence and a lot of sugarcane. So that's the town of Cairns in the background. We may return here. Well, I will be returning here at the end of my trip, obviously to fly home. But we'll give Cairns a bit of an exploration at the end of the trip. Today we've got bigger fish to fry. We've got some interesting places to see. And I'm hoping by the afternoon, if I don't keep wasting my time, to end up in South Mission Beach by the end of this. So we're going to make our way there now, and to our first stop. Alright, so we're going a little bit off track from the European theme at our first destination, but I wanted to stop off here because it's very interesting, and it has a very cool story around it. So we're here at Babinda Boulders. This is a site, today it's a watering hole. You can see a lot of people in swimming gear, but I will not be going swimming here, and there is a very clear reason for this. So there's a lot of indigenous law surrounding this place, and it's a bit of a sad story, but it's an interesting story. But you'll see why when I start explaining the story, why I'm not swimming here, and why you shouldn't swim here either. Or if you do, just be very careful. Alright, so I'm going to get my rain jacket, because in typical North Queensland fashion, it is cloudy and raining, and I'm a bit of a princess. So I'm going to get my raincoat on, and we're gonna head there now. So as soon as I decide to hop out of the car, it decides to rain bullets. Fantastic. Taking refuge. No one's in here. Good. Taking refuge in the change rooms here. Hopefully I'll be able to show everyone this. But right now, the weather's not letting me. I think I might make a dash to the car and get an umbrella, just so we can at least see something. So I've decided to put my pride away and actually get out an umbrella, because I don't have time to wait for the weather to decide if I'm gonna see these rocks or not. Alright, so we've come up to this bushwalking section, and you can read a little bit about the legend of the boulders. It's flooded there, so I ain't getting closer. But here we go, Devil's Pool, 400 meters. Let's get there. So there you have it. 21 people have died in this area. And as the legend says, Ulana goes and she lures young males into the pool. So statistically I'm not looking good, so this is why I'm staying on land. My feet are planted to the ground. But as I was saying, so the legend has it that she lures young men into the pool. So the legend is of a young indigenous woman named Ulana. Now, Ulana fell in love with a man from another tribe. And under tribal law, this is forbidden. So these two fell deeply in love, and they decided, okay, our love is forbidden, let's run away together. So they run away together, but eventually the men from Ulana's tribe catch up with them. And what they do is they kill her lover. Distraught and heartbroken, Ulana runs to these waters that we're about to see, and she casts herself into them, drowning herself and dying. And it is said amongst the indigenous tribes in the area that her soul still haunts these pools, and she lures young men in particular into the pool and drags them underneath, and they die. So as you saw from those recordings, over 21 people have died in this location, statistically all young males. So I will not be swimming today. I will be keeping my feet planted on the ground. Okay, so why are the boulders actually dangerous? So, is there a spirit haunting these waters? Who knows? This is a scientific explanation as to what happens. So essentially, the water flows, currents go underneath the rock, and say you're a human swimming up here, the current drags you down and you get stuck under here. This is another one. They get trapped in the chute where the water flows over and get sucked down and get caught in these eddy currents beneath. So this is what makes the pools dangerous and why you should avoid swimming in any form of rapids. Which probably won't explain tomorrow's video, but it's booked now. It cost me a lot of money, so I'm not getting out of it. So this is how people drown in Devil's Pool and the chute. So here we are at the Devil's Pool, the site at which it is said Ulana casted herself into. So Devil's Pool there, that's where water travels and passes underneath the rocks and will drag you if you so happen to venture into the waters. You can even see, actually there, where that rock is, you can see how the water is passing underneath the rock and how you can imagine that erosion, time, years of it, goes and creates a little hole beneath. So that's what makes this place dangerous, and which is why we are not going for a swim here. And as you can see, it's not only Devil's Pool that's dangerous, you also have the washing machine areas here and here, and you also have that chute, so that sinister looking hole that we saw in the diagrams before, that's further down the stream, which we probably can't see. There was a little bit further down where I can try and, there was more to the walk. Let's see if we can see it, but essentially, look, I always like these things where there's a bit of local legend explained by science. I think it's really cool. This actually shows you more diagrams. So that washing machine section, where essentially it goes and spirals down all the way and you get sucked to the bottom. But definitely the chute is the most sinister looking one. So, moral of the story, don't go swimming around rapids. Don't do anything stupid like that. I know I'm saying this now, but you're going to watch tomorrow's video and you're going to go, you don't even listen to your own advice. So, look, I paid a lot of money for it. I ain't cancelling it. But yes, you'll have to watch the next video to understand what that is. So, Legend of the Boulders. So told by the Wanyuru Yindinji elder, Eniwa. Okay, so reading this is a little bit different to the story that I heard. So this is another variation of the story. In this story, it says that Elandra was already married to someone from her tribe, and then she fell in love with another man, Diga, from a visiting tribe. So he was always from another tribe, but it said that as they ran away, he returned to his tribe after being discovered, while she threw herself into the pool, and she continues to call out for him. So a little bit of a different story to the one I heard. In that one, he leaves, she stays in the pool, dead, and her soul cries out for him, and that's why the young men are lured in. But the one I heard was that he was killed, and she killed herself because of it, and she goes and calls young men in, because if she can't find love, then no one can. So that's the story I heard. I guess they're both variations. What you'll commonly find with histories, there's many stories about that share a similar theme. They're all just variations. I leave it up to people to decide which one they want to believe with these kind of things. Both stories are interesting. Both talk about forbidden love. So yeah, you guys choose which one you want to believe. Did I feel compelled? Did I hear Elandra's call and feel like I wanted to hop into the rapids? Well, no, I didn't. So look, if you're a young traveler like myself, young male, and you're wondering if the spirit's going to go call to you to drag you into the water, you're probably safe. But yeah, look, who knows? Maybe she didn't find me attractive. Maybe I'm not her type. So look, if you're her type, you might still be at risk, but not me. I did not feel compelled at all to hop in the water. I'm very happy staying dry. Thank you very much. This is the actual swimming area where you can go for a swim if you choose to take that risk. It is actually quite safe here. Water's still. There's a little sandy beach area. We'll go take a quick look. I'm actually recording this for a second time because the rain ruined my footage last time. But yeah, it's the area down there. You go for a swim. I don't want to just walk and start recording people in their swimmers. So that's all you're going to see there. They're probably thinking this guy's coming back a second time. What's he doing? Well, it's because the rain ruined my footage, so I'm not a weirdo. But yes, we're going to look at the gold fields now. But that's the swimming area if you want to risk it. You're not risking it. It's safe. It's safe. Don't worry. I'm not... Cairns, don't sue me. I'm not ruining your tourism. I am actually going to say that I've been to further down where there's Josephine Falls, and I think arguably it looks nicer than that. I'm not going to go there this trip. I've got other things to do today. We have a very interesting location to go to next. I think you guys will enjoy that a lot. So we're going to quickly check out this gold field first, see what's going on, and then we'll hit the road. Okay, so it appears to be just a walking track. There's a puddle in the way. I'm not going. Sorry, everyone. Look it up on someone else's YouTube channel. You ain't seeing it on mine. I'm already wet enough as it is, and I could just be walking for hours. There's no map. Normally trails like that have a map outside them that show me where I'm going. But look, I don't think there's gold there. It's probably been already mined up and taken, so we're off to our next location. I'm enjoying some Jerry snacks in the rain. Take me some dark chocolate. Got him in some Doritos. He's also given me some other supplies. Obviously we know what we're having tonight, but gotta keep the energy up. We're here at Paronella Park. I've been here before. Very cool location. We're going to go and tell you a little bit about this place very shortly. Now we're ready for action. I'm going to keep my umbrella with me because knowing my luck, I'm going to get caught in the rain. So first of all, Bought my wristband. I think it was about $56 for a student ticket. We're going to take a quick look over here first. This is the sign for Paronella Park. This is meant to go and lead to the bridge, but the bridge is closed, but we should be able to go and just take a look at it from here. So a quick look, then we're going to go through. But basically the story behind Jose, if I'm being correct with my Spanish, Jose, was that he came to Australia in 1930. So he worked in the sugarcane fields for about 10 years, and then he amounted a small fortune after buying and selling sugarcane farms, and he went back to Spain to go marry his childhood sweetheart, Matilda. However, he returned home back to Spain only to find that his lovely Matilda had married someone else. And so he did what any smart thinking businessman would do, and he married Matilda's younger sister, Margarita. And so Jose brought Margarita here to North Queensland, where he used his fortune to create them a Spanish castle. Jose's dream continues. Paronella Park. This is a bridge that used to be open. I've walked across this bridge before, but council has closed it because of health and safety reasons. So it's been closed for the last 6 months. I was just speaking to the friendly staff here. They're not sure when it's going to be reopened, but once we're able to go and walk across the bridge and take photos on it. So yeah, hopefully it reopens soon, but yeah, it's a bit of a shame. But that's a quick history on Jose. We're going to go take a look around his castle now, but yeah, into the park. So there's a little cafe up here. You can eat as you enter. There's a gift shop inside. There are guided tours. They asked if I wanted to be on the guided tour. I respectfully declined, just because even though they definitely know what they're talking about, I just feel that it's just going to interrupt the recordings, and if I'm interrupting them, and then it's a whole mess. But I'll start with this. So we're jumping forward a little bit in time, but Jose installed in 1933 his own hydroelectric system to go and power the park. This is some of the history within it then. So as you saw from the bridge up the top, there is a waterfall which the park overlooks, and that's what he used to going for his hydroelectric system. There's a museum in there with some old photos of Jose, let's stop saying Jose, uncultured, Jose in there with Margarita, and some old vintage photos of the park. Look, it's just photos. I think you guys should come here and see it yourself, but here is the spectacular part of it all. So this are the old Catalonian castle type architecture that Jose installed, completely out of place up here in North Queensland, Australia, miles away from home. But this is it. Another side of the bridge there, and you can see the waterfall. So you can see it was no accident that Jose decided to build the park here rather than on some random plane of grass next to a cane field. The Mena Creek waterfall really just goes and adds an extra level of beauty to it all. So this part here is known as the Grand Staircase. 47 steps. It's quite steep. So just after the Grand Staircase, you get this view of the waterfall and the bridge. And you can see, and again, particularly when it's not the wet season and it's not flooding like it is now, this would have been a nice area just to go sit down, have a coffee, have something to eat, and when the water's not running as much, it'll actually be a lot more clearer than this. As instead of the muddy appearance it's got now, but the waterfall is just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Alright, so Jim's going to show us what this looks like when it's not the rainy season. Let's make sure that's being seen. So yeah, you can see it's a lot more clear, and that area down there isn't flooded. But yeah, in the past, did they used to swim here as well?
Correct.
Do they still swim here?
No, because we spotted some saltwater crabs.
Oh,
they
so
came all the way
so,
from the South Johnston River.
So you have seen the crocodiles here?
Yes.
Alright,
yeah.
we're not going anywhere.
Online as well.
Oh really?
It's been in the news, correct.
Oh geez, okay, well we ain't swimming here. Alright, so you probably heard Jim just say there have been saltwater crocodile sightings here, and you can see them online. I think I'm going to be safe if I stand here. I've got a barrier between me and the crocs. But that's the waterfall there. As we saw, this all dries up. So water gets redirected down that tower, and that's where the hydroelectric system is installed. And they used to swim here until the crocodiles came up the river. And if you ask any North Queenslander about the crocodiles, you'll know their opinion on why that is. So that yellow sign is telling us, be careful, there's crocs. Not getting too close to that water, we ain't getting in. Changing cubicles, so as I said, they used to go swimming, and that's where you'd get changed into your swimmers, or your bathers, or your togs. Refreshment rooms, like a beach club, beach bar. Honestly, Jose sounds like my type of guy. Oh, they've got some new chairs here. So I think they still do some events here, so some screenings. I think they may do some plays or some theatre. Look at that. Awesome. So that's that refreshments hut. And these are some new chairs. So they'll probably do some sort of entertainment here currently. All the grass is well kept. I mean, I don't know if it's well kept or just North Queensland, all the rainfall they get. But yeah, this is just something that you wouldn't expect at all to find here in Australia, especially North Queensland. The jungles up here. There we go, Lover's Lane leads to the Tunnel of Love and Teresa Falls. So Teresa must be named after his daughter. So Jose married Margarita, the younger sister of Matilda, who married someone else, and Teresa is the daughter of Jose. So that must be a little nod of the head to her. More forest. Going to see a lot of forest in this part of the video. Got to be careful not to run into any cassowaries. There are any. Gonna have to fight them off with my umbrella, like Kingsman. Bulletproof. It's got a blade inside it. Actually, I can't say that. Cassowaries are endangered. Can't kill. I will not be killing them. I will be give them a good talking to. Is what I'll be doing. So this is a very nice spot here. I remember this. You see the waterfall through the trees. Look at that. So this here is the Tunnel of Love. More like the Tunnel of Bats. I'm not sure if you can see that, but there are plenty of bats in there. So any Twilight fans, go for your light. Tunnel of Love is all yours. So why is it called the Tunnel of Love? So excavated materials were used for the coating of the buildings and leveling of uneven ground in the front of the lower refreshment rooms and tennis court area. So Tunnel of Love must have been a mine. Actually, while we're on the topic of the materials they used to make the buildings, it's important to note that because they were using sediment from the area, this sediment is actually porous. So when they were using it to create the buildings, what would happen is they would use the steel frame, and then the cement, and this porous cement. And so what would happen, particularly here in a place such as North Queensland where you have such a high rainfall, what happened is the water would seep through the cement, it would go and rust the steel beams and cause concrete cancer. So what happened, and we'll probably go see it in a little bit, is the building started to fall apart because he used such a porous material. And it was noted during some of his grand balls that he held in his ballroom that the guests were getting dripped on by water from the rain outside. So yeah, he cut a few corners and he paid the price for it. But we're still able to enjoy his creation to this day. Just something to note. And here we go, here's a waterfall. Let's see if this is Teresa's waterfall. That's more of the Tunnel of Love. Again, bats. I ain't doing that. Here we go, Teresa's Fall. Beautiful. And I would sit there if it wasn't full of moss. Oh, it's going hard as well. Actually, that's one thing. You see these white umbrellas that everyone's got? The staff here actually offer you umbrellas to walk around with. So obviously I had my orange umbrella, but they did offer me an umbrella, but I said no, I've got my lovely orange one. So but yeah, they're very nice staff. So if you come here, expect to be treated nicely. And I think that's very important with destinations like this. You don't want to go somewhere and be treated poorly by the staff. And the staff here are great. So props to them. If any of the staff see this, you did a good job. I've got the umbrellas out. And they even got a little basket there, just in case you thought you didn't need one. You come so far on the walk, and you got some there. So I think I've seen everything here. We're going to head back to the car and continue our journey south. Alright, so I didn't see this before, but you can see all the flooding and the levels the flood reached for every year. So all of this would have been underwater at some stage during the peaks of the rainy season. So even just look at this, 1946 flood. I mean, look how high we are from where we were before. It's insane. So yeah, I think that's the cafe. I think this building where the museum is may have been the ballroom. Let's just take a look. Let's tend to me for a second. And this is the ballroom, okay. So I missed this before. But this here is the ballroom. Sorry, the ballroom fell, as I was saying, because it experienced concrete cancer because the material he used was porous. You can see all the rust occurring in the metal beams. Obviously, that disco ball's new. But yeah, this is where the party was. Where the action happened. The ballroom opened in 1935 as a picture theatre and a dance hall, also used for wedding receptions. Burned down, so it burned down as well in 1979 due to an electrical fault. So a bit going on. But I do know that the materials used were porous and it did cause the concrete to rust. But it did burn down as well. So that's the look at it there. But 1979, the ballroom burned down. I think Jose himself passed away sometime in the 1940s. So At least he didn't see that happen. Talk about this spot. This is the Murdering Point Winery, and it's closed today because it's Good Friday. But that's all right. I've been here before, but I just think it's an interesting spot to talk about because it's they don't make it out of normal grapes. They actually make it out of tropical fruits, because up here in North Queensland, it's quite abundant. So this is the winery over here. I'm just going to do a quick U-turn for everyone to see, but it's the Murdering Point Winery. Very iconic in this area. If you come driving around, you'll see signs just like this everywhere saying Murdering Point Winery, exotic tropical wines. So it's actually it's very good. It's very unique to the area. It's Good Friday, so it's the only day of the year that they're really closed. So look, they must have knew I was coming. They must have knew, because the last time a Michael Penklis came here, he drank him dry. It's Papaw. Papaw drank him dry, the original Michael Penklis. But yeah, so look, it's a very nice winery. They've got their fields out back, and so they just use the tropical fruits, and it's very common up here. All right, so we're going to continue down this way to Kurrimine Beach, which was originally called Murdering Point, and we'll talk about that. So here we are at Murdering Point, so the actual Murdering Point, and nowadays called Kurrimine Beach. So you're probably wondering, why does such a place like this have the name Murdering Point? So it all goes back to when the early settlers came in, and they were and they were chopping cedar just on the banks of the Mary River. And what happened is, while they were chopping the cedar, they were encroaching on the hunting lands of the indigenous tribe in the area. And so what happened was, one day the town didn't hear from the cedar choppers, and they came down here and they found their remains. And it is said that the indigenous tribe went and finished the job on them. And so in retaliation, the settlers went and they murdered the entire indigenous tribe there. So there were two lots of murders, one of the settlers and one of the indigenous tribe. And so they called this place Murdering Point. And it wasn't till just in the 90s that, not 90s, 1900s, I think it was 1970s, that the community here said, hey, you know what, calling ourselves Murdering Point isn't too great for tourism. So they renamed the place Kurrimine Beach. And that's the story behind it. That's all that's really to say here. It's pretty windy. Every time I come here, it's windy. But that's the story to why Murdering Point and Kurrimine Beach are the same place, but it's no longer referred to as Murdering Point, except the winery calls itself Murdering Point, and the road in is called Murdering Point Road. But the suburb now is called Kurrimine Beach, and that's the whole story there. Hope that answers a lot of questions. And next stop, South Mission Beach. So this is one of the only places that seem to be open. It's Good Friday, but the condition is food and drinks. We made it to South Mission Beach just before the sunset. That's the beach over there. This is the pool area. This is the Elandra Hotel. It was shut for a little bit, but now it's reopened and it's been refurbished. So I'm going to get myself a table, probably somewhere away from everyone. I'll do it all the way over here. So it's quite a good resort. So you've got the pool, You got Dunk Island in the background. So, started off in Cairns, went to Babinda. You go and you see the local tribe stuff. I think the main thing about today was seeing Paronella Park. I think that's a very important chapter of Australian history. When the European migrants came through, they were hard workers. Jose Paronella, he worked for 10 years cutting cane, buying and selling cane farms, so he could one day bring over the ones he loved from his home country of Spain. And that was the case for a lot of these European settlers. And I think a lot of people who are Australian these days and of some sort of European heritage, they would have a very similar story. I know for a fact, and we'll see this in tomorrow's vlog, that when my great-grandparents came over, and my grandparents, they owned a corner shop in Tully. So that's why I've got a certain affinity for this place. So you'll see how the older generation, how the whole mindset was back then. It was work, 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 so that the next generation doesn't need to go through the hardships we did. So I thought Paronella Park was nice. Yes, Jose had a few backsets with the leaky roof and his wannabe wife marrying someone else, but I think it's important to remember Jose's story and to remember that hard work does pay off, and taking that risk, choosing the brave choice is always the best one. And even to this day, even over 60 years past Jose's death, people still visit the park, even though it's not in its former glory. But anyway, I'm gonna enjoy the last moments of today with my coffee. And stay tuned for tomorrow's vlog, where we go and we see the town of Tully, and I go a bit more in depth about the importance of that town, and we go and we do a little bit of white water rafting. So that's going to be fun. Alright, but otherwise, that's all folks.